All right, welcome. In today's video, we're going to analyze the five paramount psychological factors that influence any sale that you may be doing. We're going to be analyzing a billionaire and a real incident that happened in past history on how these psychological factors worked. And I'm also going to give you two very special gifts that are going to totally make your day. So let's get started. My name is Dr. Rajat Sinha, medical doctor turned sales coach. And in sales, there are two very important things that are happening. The first thing is money is coming out of somebody's pocket. So you got to make, if you're a salesperson, entrepreneur, you got to be perfect at the art of making somebody take money out of their pocket. And the second thing you got to be good at is getting them to take that money out of their pocket and put it into your pocket. Today we're going to be analyzing an incident where both of these scenarios are going to be analyzed in great detail, and I'm super excited to have you in this video. Let's get started. I want to first go back and do a quick revision of the five deep psychological factors that go into every single sale. Okay, so when people come to you with an inquiry, or even if you're finding leads for your business in cold contacting format or just circle of influence or something like that, just remember that the actual sale is may not be affected by the hook that you use to get them in. So if you're using a hook, a trigger reference, something that they actually mentioned to you, hey man, I want to lose weight or I want to make money, that is kind of an attracting item in order to get people into the funnel. So you may be running a Facebook ad, for example. You may be going outside of your house into the marketplace and saying, hey, I help people make money, introducing yourself to people, whatever it is. Okay, that's the hook that gets people into your sales process and into your sales funnel. But when it comes to actually making the money move out of their pockets, there are five deep psychological factors that come into play. Let's get into studying them. Let me just open up my Excel sheet over here. Yes, let's go into studying the five big buying triggers. The first and most important trigger is survival. The most important trigger is survival. People will do anything in order to probably even pay a lot of money in order to actually ensure their survival. Money, in fact, represents survival to most people, in fact, to humankind. Why? Because money is a form of exchange. Money is how you actually go out and buy food. Money is actually how you pay for a roof over your head. So when it comes to your physical survival, money represents survival. Now, if money is going to come out of somebody's pocket, they need to have a survivalistic threat, and that makes money come out of their pockets. Okay, I'm just, don't judge me, I'm just the guy who's explaining how the world works, and this is what I have learned. Okay, so you will see a lot of ads and everything which say, okay, if you don't do this, then you stand to actually lose. You'll see a lot of medical ads saying, okay, they got joint pain, or their life became a living hell, or there's a there is a threat of dying early or something like that, your health getting impacted. Money by itself, hey man, if you go bankrupt, then you're going to be worth nothing, you won't be able to survive. A lot of these messagings are already there in the advertising kind of space and mind space. And when you actually go onto the internet, you go onto TV, whatever media you're consuming, you will see that this death threat to survival is always there. You open any newspaper, 80% of the news is full of something that basically triggers a little trigger in your mind which says this could be a threat to your survival. A lot of people go ahead and watch, these days we have a lot of drunk driving cases. People are getting hurt because of youngsters driving cars in a drunk situation. And a lot of people, it's a big crowd pull, it's a TRP puller. Why is that? Because deep inside you think, hey man, am I safe on the street? Is my family safe on the street? Is there a threat to our survival because of these irresponsible rich people who are going around mowing people down with their cars, right? So a lot of messaging in media is actually attacking this particular trigger, and you need to understand this, and we're going to be analyzing this in the video today. Next, what we're going to do is we are going to go to point number 2, which is replication. What is replication? Just like survival is a survival of the self, replication means survival of the species for humankind deep inside the brain. In fact, if you haven't grabbed my book, which is Nil Negotiation Selling, please go ahead and grab my book Nil Negotiation Selling on Amazon. You will learn very much in deep about how the brain has evolved and how are these different trigger factors inside the brain. Okay, so the second trigger factor is replication. What is replication? Replication is if you are selling to somebody who's probably under 30, probably in the young phase of their life, probably unmarried, then how do they become more attractive to the opposite sex? Because that directly leads to replication and survival of the species. It's a primal need built inside our DNA. Okay. Similarly, if you're talking to people over 30 who probably might be married, probably have a couple of little kids, anybody over the years of 30 age, over the age of 30, you're going to be talking about survival of the species, which is survival of their kids. And that's why you'll see a lot of messaging, a lot of ads are talking about kids education, how successful your kids are going to be, good parenting, what kind of environment we are building for the kids, etc. Etc. It's all about the kids. Why? Because it's a primal need inside everyone's DNA to actually help the species to survive. So survival of the self and survival of the species, which is actually replication. Okay. If you're targeting under 30, then how can they be more attractive to the opposite sex? If more than 30, then how can they do better for their children who may already be in the world by then? Okay. Next, we have comfort. The third is comfort. So survival, replication, and the third is comfort, which is people are going to go from a more uncomfortable state to a more comfortable state. Everybody desires that. The next is conformity, very very powerful trigger, which is everybody who somebody is doing this, so you should also be doing this. If you see, a lot of people went to Coldplay's concert. Many people probably never heard a Coldplay song before they actually came for concert, and then everybody wants to go to a Coldplay concert. It's sold out. And you see lots of such concerts which are sold out, and like people are just is going into a frenzy where every ticket is like 20, 30, 40, 50,000 rupees, probably even more than that. Why is that? Are there so many people listening to Coldplay? No, it's because it's a game of conformity. Everybody who's somebody is going to be there, so I also need to be there, otherwise my life is not great enough. Okay. So for people to feel good about themselves, they need to have that feeling of conformity. If you're selling products and services, you need to have that trigger which says everybody who's somebody is actually doing this, you should also be doing this. Okay. Next, we've got class. What is class? People are going to do anything in order to make themselves seem head and shoulders above their neighbors. Everybody wants to be seen slightly better than the rest of the people around them. And in fact, this goes to a pretty negative flavor where people are actually, if you see very, very closely, people are trying to be slightly better than their friends and family, their batchmates, their classmates, their schoolmates, their friends, their family. Nobody wants to be a billionaire actually. Okay, a lot of make money schemes, make money coaches, make money products like insurance, mutual fund, investment, trading, stock advisory, etc. And many of the network marketing guys that are there who are selling make money kind of opportunities. There, I would recommend that you kind of bring down the bar. Actually, if you say, hey, you can be a billionaire tomorrow, that's not really going to motivate a lot of people. But if you say, hey, you could be like head and shoulders above your friends and neighbors, that is really motivates a lot of people. Again, it's a negative trait, but hey, I'm just the reporting guy. I'm just reporting to you how the brain works and how the entire sales and marketing industry, the people who are successful, how they are geared. And you need to learn some of these dark psychological tactics in order to become good at the game, so you can truly help people. Okay, very very simple. Okay, so you've got survival, replication, comfort, conformity, and class. If you see, the last three I've covered in some light colors because they are actually not as motivating as survival and replication, which is very very important. I would say class is also very important. Survival and replication forms 80% of the buying trigger spectrum. And next we have probably class and conformity. Okay, why do I say that? Is because actually people will actually sacrifice comfort for the sake of conformity. People will sacrifice comfort for the sake of class, or seeming like they're successful or something like that. Okay, so now let's quickly get down to what is the gift I have for you. I was recently watching this movie, and it was on Amazon Prime, but today I think it's also available on YouTube. And I just want to share my screen and show you what movie it was. The movie is called All the Money in the World. Okay, All the Money in the World. And in this particular movie, you have a true story of 1973, true story of 1973, when the richest man in the world at that time, before all of these guys, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and all these guys came in, you had a gentleman called John Paul Getty, J. Paul Getty, and he was the richest man in the world. Not only was he the richest man in the world, he was the richest man in the world forever. Nobody had ever been as rich as him. And J. Paul Getty was old at that time, but his grandson, who was in his teens, was kidnapped in Saudi Arabia. All right, and the kidnappers held him for ransom. And they say we need $16 million in order to release him. And J. Paul Getty actually said no. And then this ordeal continued for many months. and he just said, no, I'm not going to pay any money for my grandson's freedom, because hey, I've got 16 grandchildren, and if I encourage one kidnapper today, then everybody is going to start kidnapping all my grandchildren. All my grandchildren's safety is going to be under threat if I pay, so I'm not going to pay. Okay, so that's what the whole movie is about. And actually the grandson goes through a lot of suffering, and then the kidnapper doesn't know what to do with it, because now they can't even kill the kid, because if they if they do harm the kid or something like that, then they're anyway not going to get the money, so they don't know what to do. So then the hostage, the grandson, is actually bought bought from by another Italian mafia, and then they lay a claim, and even they are unable to get some money from this person. And the whole movie is like it goes very, very deep into it. Why am I so excited about sharing this particular movie with you is because throughout this movie you will find all of the deepest different things that are involved in actual sales and marketing. If you're a sales marketing entrepreneur, you should learn this, because in fact more than half of the sales game is about getting money to move from people's pockets. Now, of course, I don't recommend that you you kidnap people's kids and stuff like that, but you will see, in fact, even as a consumer, you will be able to see the psychological factors that go into how marketing advertising is influencing you, and what are your inside triggers. Even on a holding on to money basis, your own financial thermostat, if you're unable to hold on to money, if you're unable to make money, if you're unable to keep money, if your financial thermostat is in a limited range, then you will understand what are the psychological factors, your own psychological factors. You'll be able to break free from them. Okay, let me just play a quick clip from the movie. Fortunately, this movie is also available on YouTube, so you can just check it out, but I'm just going to play a 1-minute clip from the movie, and then we're going to go get into the discussion. All right, let's just go over here, and let me just see if the sound is shared. Okay, I don't think the sound is shared, but in this particular scene, just about the half-hour point of the movie, this person who has been assigned as a negotiator, he says that money is never really money. Money is never just money. It always stands for something. Money is never just money. It always stands for something, and mostly it stands for the one thing that they have never had. For the one thing that they have never had. Okay, and this is very, very important, because you will realize that actually money is an artificial construct created by mankind for exchange. Actually, money doesn't mean anything, but for many people it means survival. For many people it means conformity. For many people it means replication. For many people it means different things. Now, the first type of kidnapper, now you will see over here that for the sake of the child, the person who has been taken hostage, it's a question of survival. If their grandfather is not going to pay, they're going to be gone. Okay, so they're going to be gone. So it's a question of survival. For the sake of the mother, it's a question of replication, which means she talks about my son is going to get harmed, they're going to do something to him. In fact, early on they play clips where the mother actually had divorced the father of the child, which is actually J. Paul Getty's son. And during the divorce, she took zero alimony. She could have taken lots of millions of dollars in alimony, but she said, I don't want any alimony, but I want to have control of the child or custody of the child, because I am the only one who can raise him properly. Okay, so she gave up money, gave up millions of dollars. If she had taken those millions of dollars, she could have easily paid the kidnappers herself. But she did not have the money, because earlier on in the movie, she had actually given up her alimony in order to take custody of the child. What is that? That is replication. Okay, that is replication. Now, throughout the movie, they are unable to understand why this billionaire, who's got so much money in the bank that the actual interest he's earning on his money every single month is probably more than the actual hostage situation. He can easily pay them off with his passive income for a month. But he keeps saying no. He says it's about replication for me too, because I have 16 grandchildren, and if I encourage one such criminal, then all the criminals in the world are going to start kidnapping all my different grandchildren, everybody's going to come under danger. That's what he says. Okay, so he says, for me, it's about replication. All right, it's about replication. But towards the end of the movie, we come to know a secret. Okay, he has a little ego problem going on with somebody else, and because of that, he wants to prove something. And the point is, he has already outlived this other person. The other person is already dead. He has already outlived his past self, which means he's already the richest man in the world. In fact, he is probably going to die in a couple of years very soon anyway. But still, that mental block is there that he wants to prove somebody wrong and he wants to prove himself right. I want you to watch this movie so that so that you totally get the whole thing. I'm not going to give away all the clues, because I truly want you to watch the movie and enjoy it. Okay, so for this person, it's a question of class, which is, I was right, the other person was wrong, and that's what I'm trying to prove. And during the movie, somebody asks him, when will you be actually happy? And he says, I just want more. That means he wants to make more money. He wants to save all the money that he makes. And he's just going into this spiral, this negative spiral, where he cannot really save himself. In spite of being the richest man in the world, he's basically a hollow person with no friends, no family, and basically no happiness in life. Okay, that's why it's very, very important for you to watch the movie, because money can have very negative connotations. Also, being rich is not the only thing, but being rich so that it leads to something should be something. You should have some mission, something you want to do for your family. That's why good wealth coaches, make money coaches will always ask you, why is it that you want to make money? And it should ideally be a wholesome reason, which is something related to your family, something you want to do for your kids, something that is emotional in nature. Otherwise, money by itself doesn't mean anything. So this billionaire is going on this journey where towards the end, he realizes, okay, no, I was trying to prove this somebody else wrong, and that is the reason that I am just like this. And towards the end, he actually gives the ransom. They negotiated down a little bit. He actually gives the ransom, and he actually gives away the custody of the kids to their mother. So he actually becomes a little more human towards the end. And he says, okay, you can take the money also, and I don't want my grandchild to be beholden to me. I don't want him to be beholden to me or anything. You can raise the kid yourself also. So he becomes a little more human towards the end. Okay, so so I really want you to watch this movie. It's an amazing, amazing movie, and it really goes very, very deep into the 5 big trigger factors. And if you can really understand your prospect with relation to where their survival is under threat, where they're going to do some things that they're going to pay money from their pocket to make the world a better place for their kids. They're going to pay some money if it brings them from discomfort to comfort. They're going to pay money if it brings them, if they feel like an outsider, they never have felt part of a gang or something like that, part of something. You can have those messaging that can bring people into your movement because it's conformity. And the last thing is class. Without going into a negative spiral, if you can help people become not better than their neighbors, friends, or classmates, become better than their past version of themselves, then you'll really be adding a lot of value to your clients, and they will love you for it. Okay, so please go ahead, watch the movie, and please let me know in the comments box what all were your takeaways, and we can have probably a running chat where whatever takeaways you write, I'll be responding back to you. You can probably respond back. We can run some chat roll right below this video once you have watched the movie and you come back and give me the comments. Okay, so with that, today, happy weekend to you, and look forward to seeing your comments. Okay, all the money in the world. Bye-bye.